Daniel was a great wise man. The king chose him as his helping hand. 3 times a day he always prayed. With faith in God he was never afraid. The kings, all the helpers, didn't like what they saw and tricked the king to make a bad law. The praying to God had to stop, or in the lion's den you would drop. The king signs a law that no one can ignore, unless you want to hear the lions roar.
Hello everybody and welcome to Messy Church. My name's Irene and I hope that you've all had a wonderful Christmas holiday and that you're all now settled back in school again and enjoying learning with your friends. Today's story is about a man called Daniel. Now Daniel lived a very long time ago, longer even than Jesus. And his story is in the Old Testament part of the Bible. That's the part of the Bible that was written before Jesus came along. Daniel was a very brave man and he believed in God. He believed in God so much and so fiercely that nothing would make him turn away from how he felt and from praying to him every single day. The story starts when Daniel was just a little boy and he lived in Jerusalem, which is part of Israel. And as you know, in Israel, the people were Jews and they followed the same God and believed in the same God that Christians do. But Jerusalem was captured by the Babylonians and he was taken with lots of other people to the magnificent city of Babylon. Babylonians were very good to him and they were given plenty of tasty food and a good schooling and they were taken care of. But Daniel never ever forgot that he came from Israel and he prayed to God 3 times every single day. Daniel grew up wise and strong. He made good decisions and he sorted out arguments between people and the people loved him and valued him, including the king. And when King Darius ruled Babylon, he made Daniel one of the 3 rulers of the whole kingdom. But the other 2 rulers were jealous of them because they'd been born in Babylon and they didn't think that it was right that Daniel, who was actually from Jerusalem, should be made one of the rulers as well. So they were very jealous and they tried very hard to plot against him and to find something that Daniel had done that they could go and tell the king about that was bad. In the end, they went to King Darius and they said, "Make a new law, O king. For 30 days, everybody must pray to you and not to any god. And if they do, you should feed them to the lions." So the king didn't really think about what the implications were going to be for people like Daniel. So he said yes, and he made the law. Daniel heard about the law, but 3 times every day he still knelt at his window to say his prayers to God, because he knew that was the right thing for him to do. The 2 rulers watched him and then went off to report him to the king. The king was very upset. He hadn't realised what was going to happen to Daniel. He liked him and he trusted him, but he couldn't save him from the law. And he ordered Daniel to be put to the lion pit. As Daniel walked down into it and the entrance was closed up with a huge stone, the king said, "May your God save you." I think he probably really meant that. King Darius went back to his palace and that night he was so upset he couldn't eat any supper. He sent his servants away and couldn't sleep, and early the next morning he went straight to the lion's pit. What do you think he found? He shouted, "Daniel! Daniel! Daniel, did your God save you?" He shouted, and then he heard a little voice saying, "I am here." It was Daniel answering him. He said, "God kept the lion's mouth shut. He knows I've done nothing wrong." The king was delighted that Daniel was safe, He ordered him to be taken out of the pit, and then he ordered the 2 rulers to be put into the pit with the lions instead, because he realised what they'd done. The king made a new law, and he ordered that everyone in his kingdom should respect Daniel's God, the God who'd saved Daniel from the lions. And that's the end of this part of the story of Daniel and the lions. Imagine how brave he must have been to keep with what he knew was right, in spite of what everybody around him was doing and what the law said and the consequences that the law was going to have for him. It takes a very brave person and a person of very strong character and will to be able to do something like that. I wonder if you've ever been really brave about something that you truly believed in. Have a think about it. What do you think you might have done if you'd been Daniel? Was he right to carry on praying to God, or do you think he should have stopped? Have a think about it. Talk to other people about it, see what they think. I think he was an amazing person. We're going to be making some lions' faces today. I'm going to show you how to do a picture of a lion, and I'm going to show you how to make a lion mask. But before we do that, let's take a moment. Let's say together the prayer that Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. For our first activity, you're going to need a sheet of yellow paper, an old plate, or a saucer might do, that's for mixing paint on. You need a bowl, nice round one, that's about the size of the lion's head that you're going to be making, a fork, a top off a milk bottle, and some glue. Okay, and then I've got orange, yellow and brown paint. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my bowl in the middle of the yellow paper, and I'm going to draw around it. Do it nice and slowly so that you don't get any wobbly bits. Keep your finger on top so it doesn't move. And I'm making a nice circle. There's my circle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some paints. With my fork, and don't forget all the time I'm working on a wipeable surface so that if I get any paint anywhere, I can just wipe it straight off again. You make sure that mum or dad or the older person that you're with knows where you're working and that they're happy that you're not going to make a mess. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start building up the mane, but I'm going to start with the light colours first because it's very difficult to put a light colour on top of a dark one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way around, first of all with the yellow, make that one a bit longer. Yeah, look at that. All the way around. And then it's probably sensible to let that dry a bit. But if you're like me and you're a little bit impatient or you're trying to do it in quite a hurry, don't worry about it. They'll mix up a bit, but it won't worry too much. I'm going to use my next colour, which in this case is orange, all the way around. A little bit more there. There, it's beginning to build up, isn't it? And it's beginning to look just like a lion's mane. And my last colour is brown. Maybe don't want quite so much brown. And then I think when this is dry, I'm probably going to give it one last go with the yellow to bring that yellow out again a bit. Right, so there we are. There's my lion's mane all the way around, and I've kept the middle nice and clear because that's where I'm going to do the lion's face. Then to make his face, I'm going to need just a little piece of white paper. I had quite a big one, but you don't need one that size. I think probably about an envelope size is probably big. If you've got some really big googly eyes, you might want to use those instead, because that's what I'm making at the moment. I'm making some eyes. So about that size, and I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to draw a nice big eye, big googly eye. There. If you want to, you could use your milk bottle top to do that, or you could do it freehand like I've just done. It really doesn't matter. Then I'm going to cut that out right the way through the two pieces so that I get two eyes that are exactly the same size. What I'm then going to do is place those in the middle. I'm not going to do them absolutely straight, because I think he looks quite funny when he's got eyes that are a little bit skew with. I'm going to glue those on. There we are. I'm going to put one there, and then one. Let's see, round about how he is at the moment. And I'm going to give him the pupils, the black bits in the middle. If you have some black paper, that would be absolutely perfect. But you see, even being careful, I've still got a little bit of paint on me. So if you can bear to wait until it's dry, that is much, 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 much better. So that's one pupil he's got. And now I'm going to give him one on this side. I'm sure you'll take lots more time and care than I'm doing. So wait patiently for it to dry first. There. There's his two eyes. I think he's going to be quite a happy one, don't you? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw his jowls that go like that, and his mouth, and of course his nose. So he's going to have a nose that kind of goes like that. They're going to come down into jowls like that. There we go. And I'm going to give him, those are the bits where his hair comes out. There, and there he is. One happy lion. For the lion's mask, you're going to need a paper plate, a paintbrush, some yellow paint, scissors, and some lineish kind of coloured paper. Okay, I've chosen orange and brown and yellow for mine. The first thing we're going to do is to paint the whole of the back of the paper plate, and then when we've done that, we're going to let it dry. There's my dried paper plate. While I was doing that, I could have made a start on my mane. That's the hair that goes all the way around his head. What I'm going to do for that is I'm going to cut out quite narrow strips of the paper. I'm going to cut out lots of them, probably about 1 centimetre wide. Do it quite carefully, but don't worry if it gets a little bit higgledy-piggledy. It won't matter that much. So I'm going to do lots and lots of them. There we are. And if I need some more, I can always make some more. Move those out of my way. So now I have the face of my lion, and I have lots of strips of paper that I'm going to use for his mane. I'm going to cut some of these into different lengths. Don't make them too short, but you can have some long ones, some that are about half that length. It's entirely up to you. It's your lion, remember. You make it the way you want to. So I've got lots of different lengths. So we've got lots and lots and lots of them all ready to go. Now, before we use those, we have to decide where the eyes are going to go. And the best way to do that is to put your paper plate in front of your face, and then if the light's in front of you, you use your fingers, you can kind of see where your eyes go. So I'm going to keep my fingers there, I'm going to bring them down, and I'm going to mark them. And then I'm going to draw around them using my milk bottle top. Well, bit frilly, doesn't matter. I can always straighten them up. And then I'm going to cut all the way around them to make two big eyes. A little bit tricky, so take your time. The more time you take, the better your shapes will be. You could take a bit more time and trouble, and you could make sure that all your black lines disappeared if you wanted to. I'm going to leave mine like that. Okay, so now I have my two eyes, I have my face. So this part here is going to be where the nose is, and then the jowls, those are the big kind of cheeks that go there, and a little mouth. And I think I'm probably going to draw those on next. So I'll put that where I hope you can see it. And I'm starting here, and I'm putting a nice big nose. Okay. I'm going to put some little paws in his skin, which is where the whiskers stick out. Just like I did for the other one. Then I'm going to take my Pritt stick, my glue stick, and I'm going to take some of these pieces of paper, and then not opening my scissors, I don't need to open them, I just need to hold on to them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my thumb on one side, make sure it's got a pointy end, it's away from you. My thumb on one side, the scissors on the other, and I'm going to press it quite firmly and let the paper go through. And you'll see straight away it stretches the paper and makes it curl. All the time I'm keeping the opening side of the scissors well away from me. I don't want an accident. I'm making sure that they're closed, and I'm pressing down firmly on one side of the paper with my thumb and the other side with the scissors, like so. Please make sure that there's an older person with you, older brother or sister, or mum or dad or an adult or somebody when you're doing it. We don't want any accidents. So now I'm having lots and lots of shapes, and I'm going to use those to make my hair. I'm going to glue a little bit of the top here. I might want to cut some of these as I go along. I won't necessarily want them all the kind of length that they are. I just have to see how I go. I quite like the yellow one there, so I'll do that. And then I'm going to do that. I'm going to build it up and build it up. So I've got lots and lots. I'm going to do just the end of this one a little bit more. And then I have a lighter coloured one. If Mum or Dad don't want you to use the scissors in that way, you could also make your lion simply by cutting different size pieces and sticking those around his head. You don't have to do it this way if your grown-up doesn't feel it's safe for you. When I put a whole row of those all the way around the outside, I'm going to do a second row behind. That's a nice curly one. Put that one there. That is a very curly one. Okay, and I'm going to build it up and build it up all the way around the outside. There, as you can see, my lion's finished. At the bottom, I used just some ordinary strips that I didn't curl, so that you can see how those would look if you decided to do that instead. Our finished lion. I hope you enjoyed making him. That's all from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed the story and joining in with the crafts, and we'll see you again next time. Bye. Have a good week.